I brought Spock along for the review thinking that he would be kind of bigger in the frame, but he's not, and all the other Star Trek stuff's over there, so hi! Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a movie review on the new Star Trek movie, which is either the 3rd or the 13th movie, depending on how you look at it. So if you want to see me do a review on Star Trek Beyond, please keep watching. Okay, so let's start with my impressions from the trailer. I didn't really pay too much attention to the trailer. I watched the first one, I wasn't really excited, it didn't make me excited for the movie. Second one came around, I was kind of like, meh. I'm not, like, I do really like Star Trek, so I was excited to have a Star Trek movie, but in terms of how the trailer made me feel and like whether I was hyped up for the movie, it wasn't really at all. First off with Jaylah, the new alien character, the impression I got from the trailer, because I wasn't paying attention, is that she would be a villain, purely just by looking at her. Which is different in the movie, as you'll see. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but yeah, so that was a bit of a surprise while I was watching the movie. And also something else is the use of the song Sabotage, which you would know if you'd seen the other movies. It's in the trailer and they have quite a, not clever use, but kind of a cool way to introduce it into the actual movie itself. So it's kind of in the opening of the first movie and then they use it again, yeah, kind of cleverly in this one, which the impact is drawn away if you've seen the trailer. So watching the trailer after seeing the movie, I can realise that it wasn't really all that special and maybe lazy. But while I was watching the movie, I was really excited and I was like, yes, they've put that song in and it's a really kind of clever use of the song. So yeah, that's what I thought from the trailer. So let's get into the movie. All right, so Star Trek Beyond has had a bit of a comedy boost. Simon Pegg was writing this one, and you can see that from also his increased screen time and the amount of jokes that are throughout the movie. I'm not a comedy fan, but Simon Pegg's writing and just his facial expressions alone are quite funny, so that's definitely a plus for this movie, I think. I know that some people think it's too much comedy for Star Trek, but I think for these new movies, and it really plays well with the other characters as well. Thumbs up Simon Pegg for making me laugh in a Star Trek movie. Alrighty, so moving through the movie, the opening scene, fast paced, gets you where you want to be, so that really got the ball rolling for me. I was like, yes, fast paced, I don't know what's going on. The aliens in the first scene, when Kirk and them are making a trade, I wasn't convinced on them, but they are cute. Also, James T. Kirk, there are classic Shatner-esque movements and facial expressions coming from Chris Pine, who plays Kirk in the new movies. His facial expressions, his speech pattern, just the way he looks really captures William Shatner. Ben didn't quite pick up on it, but I did, and that kind of got me excited for the rest of the movie. It isn't as obvious through the rest of the movie, but to get you hooked once you start watching it, I think that's a real plus. So like I said, this movie had quite good pacing. It starts off quite fast and you get into the movie quite quickly. The rest of the movie is quite fast as well. There are slow bits and it definitely kind of drops off towards the end of the movie, but I'll get to that later. So in comparison to some other movies that I've seen lately, it didn't make me feel bored. I knew what was going on, who was who, everyone played together really well. So that really kept me like entertained and captured into the movie. But one of the downsides, I think, was the main villain, Kroll. So yeah, he wasn't as convincing as perhaps he could have been. I know that the last movie had Khan, which obviously is, you know, one of the most important and loved villains, I guess, from the Star Trek universe from way back. But this one just wasn't as strong, wasn't as believable. I think throughout the first and second act of the movie, you know, you got what he was doing and why he was doing it. And you're like, yeah, this is really cool. All his little minions, that was cool as well. But once you get to the third act, you're like, what is going on? Who is this guy? was just more so that his motive wasn't clear. Like, you could see he was a bad guy, he had a plan, but then you kind of learned through Jaylah, who just lays down some backstory exposition, that it's not just the Enterprise being singularly attacked, and that's kind of cool to get this more backstory, and it links in, I think, with some original series episodes. But yeah, the motive wasn't clear, and even when you start to find out his main plan towards the end of the movie, you're like, this isn't very strong, it's not very believable. How they discover what his plan is through Uhura, that wasn't believable. That just seemed really squeezed in. They were like, quick, we need a moment where everyone figures out who the bad guy is and how it's going to affect them. So moving on into the third act of the film, even though the plot isn't as strong, it's where some super cool action scenes come through, some space fights, really cool shots. So they're really exciting, but the kind of plot behind it is just, I didn't like it. So once you know who the bad guy is and what he's up to, then in that third act, you're trying to figure out who exactly he is and why he's doing it. It just doesn't seem to be strong enough. Like, I get it, but it doesn't seem to be strong enough to warrant like its own film. Like, it feels like it could be something in like an episode or a backstory to kind of progress another villain into doing something bad. But this alone didn't stand out enough, especially with the use of Idris Elba as the villain. He's obviously a really strong actor, and then his character's just kind of doesn't mean anything. So overall, I did find the movie really enjoyable. Definitely a popcorn movie. I was really enjoying it, but retrospectively, I can kind of understand why some people aren't enjoying it as much. I wouldn't say that I loved it. I definitely had a good time, and I probably will buy it on Blu-ray. But yeah, not loving it. But yeah, it's a really fun movie to watch. And just because I felt slightly behind in the end of the movie, where I was just a little bit confused for a while, kind of like I felt in Batman vs Superman, as like, what's going on? Why does this matter? So that was kind of a downside for me. So I really don't think that the trailer did this movie justice. Some of the characters kind of develop more. Spock is way more enjoyable, I found, in this movie. Bones, just, he's full of jokes as well as Scotty, and I think that's really good. Kirk, great character once again, but then Chekhov and Uhura kind of kept in the dark for most of the movie, and you're like, their characters don't really have a lot of use for this movie. Uhura more so than Chekhov, which is quite disappointing, given that Anton Yelchin recently passed away. But in regards to the fourth installment of the new Star Trek reboot, I'm definitely excited for that. I don't think they should use the Sabotage song again, and I definitely think if they can keep up as much humour as they kept in this movie, then I will be happy, and probably more people will go to see it. And finally, even though it felt slightly squeezed in as a subplot, the nod to Leonard Nimoy passing away, I think was quite nice and definitely progressed Spock's character a little bit more. I don't want to give away how it happens, you can probably guess. But yeah, I thought that was definitely special for the movie, even though it was slightly squeezed in, and if Leonard Nimoy hasn't passed away, they probably wouldn't have put that in there. Alrighty, those are my thoughts on Star Trek Beyond. I really did enjoy it. I didn't love it, but I'm not feeling as negative towards it as, say, Ben. He didn't enjoy it at all. So yeah, if you want to see me do another movie review, please leave a comment down below. I'm hoping to get these going more regularly, because movie reviews are what I really do enjoy doing. It's something I've always wanted to do, so I'm finally doing it. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!